So Darius obviously goes out and gets a 40 ball tonight. Felt like it was an old school 40 ball though, because he was getting into the paint and getting to the line. Can you just kind of describe the way that he was able to bend the defenses tonight?
He carried us. I mean, you know, this is the first game all year I felt like one guy carried us. He carried us. We weren't good. We but he single-handedly took over this game. I'm gonna just campaign. If he's not an all-star, I don't know what an all-star looks like. And I don't know his clutch numbers. I'm sure they have to be elite. They have to be tops in the league. So he makes big plays for us at the end of the game. Been incredible in the clutch, shooting the ball great, playing good defense. I don't know. I look around the league and I respect the league, but I don't know who's, he's got to be in, that top tier, all-star tier. Phenomenal player. He completely took over the game and carried us.
Raptors come out hot there to start the half. I think it was 15 points out of the gate there. The adjustment, what happened there? And it felt like maybe Ty and George even turned the tide there.
Yeah, we had no adjust. We adjusted and nothing worked. We could not stop them. We didn't stop them all night. This is a game where you have one player that really saves you. Darius saved us, but we never stopped them. They played great. They shot the ball great. They executed well. Real credit to them. I'm disappointed in our defense, obviously, because that's 2 nights in a row. I think we weren't kind of locked in. They shot over their heads for sure, but we weren't good defensively at all.
Coach, you talk a lot about having a jolt off the bench and getting Max back. He's been able to hit 9 threes in the last 2 games. He had a big defensive possession against Scotty.
Yeah.
When you talk about not just his leadership, but scoring, defense, pace, what does he bring being back off the bench?
Yeah, it's funny. His 2 threes. I mean, we were struggling, and he couldn't. We didn't shoot the ball great, but he hits 2 big threes, and kind of that's who he is. Like he's there's no afraid of the moment with him. Like he's just you wouldn't know if it's a pickup game or the last minute of a game, and you just love his moxie, right? And that grit play he made on Scotty at the end, really firmed up, bodied up, just winner. All the cliches about that people have been saying about him in this league forever. He plays like the guy that's still trying to make the league. I feel like he's he's a guy that just is on a 2-way. That's how hard he plays. There's no privilege in his game. It's all toughness and grit, and winning player.
You mentioned being disappointed in the defense, but you had 5 players score in double figures on offense. You guys doubled the franchise record for 130 or more games in a season. Does it help having an offense that can shoot as well as you guys have this year?
I know. I just don't want to be too reliant on that. And I'm not going to overreact, to these last 2 games, but it's like, it's a little bit. I don't want the guys to think that's the only way we're winning, or that's the way to push this thing to a championship level. You need both sides, and sometimes I do feel like we rely on our offense a little too much, our offensive talent. So we got to get back to our defending ways. It's not like 2 weeks, but for 2 games for our level of team, I think they must have been over 130 offensive rating tonight. I didn't look at the numbers. That's not good.
There. First half, Jared. I know he's talked about how Darius kind of carried you there, but
yeah,
Jared seemed to keep you afloat there in the first half.
Yeah.
Really, double right out of the gate there. Just what about him and Evan inside is working so well?
Yeah, I did feel like I don't. I wish I could say what period it was, but I thought J.A. had a little lull in his game, but he's been lights out. I mean, I felt I totally agree with you. I felt like his energy and how hard he went. It was and Pirtle's he's a handful down there, and he's the offensive rebounding. Evan too. I think really bailed us out, but we weren't shooting the ball well tonight, and those two guys. You see our offensive rebounding percentage lately has been going up. It's mostly due to those guys. Evan only had 11 shots, but a fair amount of offensive boards. But I love how J.A. is playing right now. He's another guy. He's playing at an all-star level.
When you're leading the league consistently the way you are in the standings, you're getting everyone's best shot. Toronto comes in here where they're at. Just how do you think and what are you learning about how your team is handling being the hunted more so than being the hunters?
Yeah, I thought tonight was going to be that game. I was already preparing my speech to you guys. Well, we had the stinker. It was going to happen, and we didn't. And I'm going to say it anyway. We didn't handle this one well in terms of maturity and getting over the emotions of last night. But it's totally human. Like, we have to have some empathy, right? That was an emotional night. We spent a lot of energy, but I don't think I did a great job of tuning them back up to be like, man, we got to get this one. We didn't dictate. We waited. They were the aggressor, and we're lucky as heck to get this win. But I think the other thing about that's why it's so hard to go 33-4, because normally with kind of a normal team you have a bunch of these games. You have 10, 12 of these games during the year. We really haven't had one. Tonight was probably the first time, and we luckily escaped with a win.
Chris.
Kenny, you've done this a few times where you've just flipped a switch in the fourth quarter. Is there a feeling of you guys are just capable of flipping a switch at any given moment, and is there a little bit of a danger of that?
Chris, I don't think so. I don't think we we're not four-time champion. That we're still trying to climb the ladder. It was. I never felt like the guys felt like we're so good we're gonna get this one. We're not. I don't think we're at that level yet where we can have that mentality, and that's how it was tonight. We were nervous and scratching and clawing. I didn't feel like we were serene, we're gonna get this one. We had to scratch and claw to get it.
Do you like Max coming off the bench? Are you committed to that? I'm
not committed to it, but I love it. I I love it in a sense. He's just such a great spark of energy. But that fifth spot I think is going to be it's going to be matchup based. It's going to be who's in rhythm. Who are we playing? There's nothing set in stone with that. But he's played great as in that 6-man role.
Nate.
Kenny, when Jared Allen hustled to save the ball and get that, get it to Karis LeVert for that defensive rebound, I think a minute left. What did you think of that effort, and does that qualify as ethical basketball?
Yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to ask him. But that's where J.A. is right now. He's like our center of our energy, and he's making all the gritty plays. Never asked for a play to be run for him. We never run out of timeout plays for him, which I need to start doing, because if he's gonna keep doing that stuff consistently all night and night, we gotta throw him some bones. But Darius feeds him sometimes, but he's making all the winning plays, and I'm glad you guys are recognizing that. Sometimes I think, like I said pregame, he gets doesn't get the mentions he deserves.
Yeah.
Back to Darius. I mean, he said all season long that from last year he's regained that confidence.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of pride when he not only can put games together like he has all season, but to have a game where you credit him for kind of saving this team?
Yeah, you know, obviously, you know, I wasn't here last year, but I know we went through a lot of struggles, some personal stuff, and you know, the injury and all that. So for him to make this comeback, and you know, one thing we were on him about is just having elite habits, you know, in terms of his off-court habits, in terms of recovery and lifting, and because the talent is so immense, and we rely on him so much, and he's and you know, teams will go at him defensively. He's got to continue to you know, treat that body like a temple, and you know, and he has done that. Like we've asked him to do it. We've asked him to make the sacrifices. You know, we need you here for recovery. We need you in the weight room longer. You know, I saw that with Steph. Like that was kind of Steph's evolution. You know, great talented player, great shooter, and then as Steph's improved his body, got stronger. You know, I think Steph, that's part of what got him to a championship level. I think Darius is in that same boat. He's got to keep that keep improving physically, and you know, the sky's the limit. He's going to keep going this way and produce big time in the playoffs.
Coach, what went into the decision to start Karras, and what did you think of him in his first start?
Yeah, really good. Should have mentioned him. 4 threes. I think he had 9 potential assists. We needed downhill tonight against their pressure. Thought about Ty. That was definitely a possibility. Thought about Max, but that's where it was a little bit opponent based with their pressure defense, and you know, needed his downhill ability.